It's difficult to summarise Peter Cave's long and distinguished career in a few short sentences. Just think of any major international conflict in the past 4 decades, and Peter was probably there reporting from the coalface. The boy from Newcastle began his journalistic career with an ABC cadetship in Sydney at the age of 18. During a flirtation with commercial radio, he covered the devastation brought on Darwin by Cyclone Tracy. Then followed a stint as one of Joh Bjelke-Petersen's chooks in Queensland, during which he managed to wrangle an overseas assignment covering the Coconut War in the New Hebrides. And with that, Peter was hooked. He was posted overseas for the first time in 1983 to Japan. Later postings took him to ABC bureaus in London and New York. His coverage of the world's hotspots has earned him an intimidating reputation as a war correspondent. He can parachute into a conflict zone and in almost no time at all get to the heart of a story.
Peter can pump out a clear, concise narrative that explains to people just what is going on in often complicated, confusing situations. And he'll do that continuously for days or weeks on end.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts there, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. I travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to
Delhi, Johannesburg,
London,
Jerusalem, Moscow, Jakarta, Chiba, Manila, Wadi Khalil, Sanur, Baghdad, Beirut, Lebanon, Yogyakarta.
I think he fell in love with conflict reporting, and he got so good at it, he was just the first name on everyone's lips when it came to covering a war zone. And the more war zones he covered, the better he got at it.
This is the immediate aftermath of an attack on an American convoy on the main road to Baghdad airport.
It would be almost impossible to remain unmoved by reporting as much death and destruction as Peter has, and he admits it did make an impact.
The remains of what looks like it might once have been a bicycle. And underneath, a sickening stain, which I've got a horrible feeling is blood.
He'd be the first to tell you that in some of those war zones that he went, the human stories were heartbreaking, and they did get to him, and it does affect correspondents, even as tough-skinned as Peter Cave.
Peter used the experience to give something back to journalism by working with the Dart Centre for Journalism and Trauma.
People have been willing to speak out and to say, this is something that's affecting me. If Peter Cave is willing to regard this as a serious issue, I'm willing to take it as a serious issue too.
Peter Cave has won 5 previous Walkleys for his work with the ABC, and this award for outstanding contribution to journalism is a fitting recognition of a truly distinguished career.
To have reported from some of the darkest places on the planet, Iraq, Yugoslavia, apartheid, South Africa, war-torn Lebanon, that takes a commitment to journalism that few are willing to make, and it literally means betting your life on the story. Peter did that for 40 years. He thoroughly deserves this award.
This award is the crown and glory for a spectacular career. And Peter Cave, you deserve every bit of it.
Congratulations, Peter Cave.
This is a total surprise. People say that all the time, but it is. I've been watching the auto cue right through this program, and it's been sort of providing witty things for people to say, and I'm looking at it now and it's completely blank. Although I want to say, "Get off, you idiot." I'm particularly surprised that I got this award because I've been a critic of the Walkley Awards over the last few years. I think that some of the decisions and the way that the decisions are made haven't been the best way to make decisions, and I was very heartened to hear Laurie Oakes say that there is a major revision going on. Hopefully I'll be part of that revision, because I've seen good decisions made and I've seen some terrible decisions made over the years. I've won 5 Walkley Awards. I probably deserve one of them. 4 of them were awards for being in the right place at the wrong time. They weren't what the Walkleys should be about, which is excellence in journalism, and I suspect that maybe in the last couple of years we've moved away from that a little bit, and they aren't always about excellence in journalism. It's worried me as I've seen the Walkleys become glitzier and glitzier and more professional, and televised, and autocues at the back of the auditorium putting out witty things for people to say. I'm glad that we've decided to revise the way we award Walkleys. As I said, I'm not being disingenuous. I honestly don't believe that I deserve 4 of the 5 Walkleys I won. I feel very happy that I probably deserve the one for Tiananmen Square, but the rest, right place, wrong time. I'm delighted that we're looking again at how we decide these awards, and even though I'm not the world's best friend of some of the members of the Walkley board, and I'm getting a wind-up from the director down there. So get off, you idiot. Yes, okay, I'll get off. Thank you.
Well, the moment has arrived. It's time for the Gold Walkley, our industry's highest accolade. This year's Gold Walkley winner will receive 2 business-class airfares to any of Qantas's international destinations and accommodation from 8 hotels. The Gold Walkley is proudly sponsored by Westfield, and to represent them on stage, we welcome Julia Clark. To present the Gold Walkley, please welcome back to the stage the Federal Secretary of the Alliance, Chris Warren.
Well, this is it, the time for the big one. The Gold Walkley Award, the highest honour in Australian journalism. And the winner of the Gold Walkley in 2012 is Steve Pennells.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that, and I wouldn't have drunk so much if I knew that was coming. I'm in awe of most of the people in this room and a lot of the people I was up against tonight, so I feel a bit like Stephen Bradbury coming up here. I'm not the best bloke for speeches. I gave a speech last month in Perth and I ended with the phrase "rock on," which wasn't my finest moment, so please, I'd like to thank primarily the editorial team at the West Australian, a terrific team. Bob Cronin, Editor-in-Chief, he's an inspiration. The guy's probably forgotten more about journalism than we'll ever know. He's there at the start, before everyone arrives in the morning. He's there late at night. His door's always open to the youngest cadet, the most senior journo. He's ready with a yarn from the scandalous days of journalism, the racier times, and if sometimes it's so good he'll tell it to you again the next day. Brett McCarthy, who brought me back to the West. In times now where we have to do more with less, he still believes in a good story. Michael Beach, the deputy editor, He's got a knack for picking out the heart of a story. I've used him as a sounding board many, many times for my crazier ideas, and he's never kicked me out of the office once. The team at the West, sometimes we feel we're a bit under the radar over there, which is a good and a bad thing. You know, I mean, I've just moved to Sydney, and I've loved, in the past couple of months, seeing stories on the front page of papers over east that were broken in the West about a week before or 2 weeks before. It's true, it's true. So, you know, the team, they're fantastic. They're a fantastic team over there. I'd love to name them all. We've got, you know, the chiefs of staff, Ben Martin, Ben Spencer, Colin Egan, Gary Adshead. I mean, the names just go on and on. You know, Marie Clune, she promised I would, you know, made a promise, or she made me promise that I'd mention her. You know, it could be a list of names, and I think a good journalist is a sum of the people who's been around, the senior journos who have, you know, taken the time to answer questions and talk to them, you know, the people who inspired me, the people who have taught me, the journo I should be, the journo I shouldn't be. You know, it's fantastic. I'd love to thank my fantastic partner Tom, who's over there, who's puts up with me. You know, fly around the world at a moment's notice, and he always brings me back down to earth like only a good German can do. And last but not least, I have to thank the person without whom I probably wouldn't be standing here, and that's thanks Gina.
Congratulations, and a very big congratulations to all of the winners tonight.
And that concludes the formal part of the 57th Annual Walkley Awards. Our sincere thanks to all of you, the journalists, the judges, the sponsors, presenters, and of course, my co-host for the evening, Heather Hewitt.
And thank you to my co-host. I thought you were my co-host.
Thanks to one and all. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Cause I've been loving you for such a long time now, expecting nothing.
The Walkley Foundation and SBS would like to acknowledge the ABC for its support in tonight's production. In other awards presented tonight, the Walkley for Best Freelance Journalist went to Dave Tuckon. The Walkley for Daily Life Feature Photography went to Nicholas Walker from the Weekend Financial Review. The Best 3 Headings was won by Paul Dyer of NT News. For Sport Photography, the Walkley went to the Daily Telegraph's Phil Hilliard. Amanda Gearing, Claudia Taranto and Lewis Mitchell took home the Walkley for Radio Feature, Documentary or Broadcast Special for their piece The Day That Changed Grantham. Best Cartoon went to Andrew Moulton from Crikey. Best Artwork was won by The Advertiser and News Limited website's Stephen Grice. The Walkley for News Photography went to AAP's Lucas Koch for Australia Day Protest. Best Broadcast Camera Work was won by Gary Ramage from News Limited for This Is Afghanistan. And the Walkley for Commentary, Analysis, Opinion and Critique was won by John Sylvester from The Age for Over Coffee, Carl Murdered the Truth.